Take yourself back to a time when networking was very new to you, because we've all tried something for the first time at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
So way back when it was new to you, can you describe any feelings that you had? Was it overwhelming? Did you get nervous to like talk to certain people? How did you go outside your comfort zone? Take us through that journey.
Great question. Because when I started the baking company that you mentioned in my intro, I had to go to events to meet people who could become clients or who could send me referrals. And I remember walking into the very first chamber meeting in Jupiter, Florida, outdoor deck. It was probably around May, and walking into that room not knowing anybody. And it looked like everybody else knew somebody. In fact, not just knew them, they were all like best friends. And I was the only one who didn't know someone. I mean, my palms were all sweaty and my heart was beating out of my chest. And I just was so anxious and felt so intimidated walking into that room because I didn't know anyone. And it's not that I can't have a conversation. I'm great at building relationships, but I didn't know how to break into a conversation. I didn't know how to start a conversation with people who were all, break into a conversation that was already going on, or start a conversation. I'm like, why would they want to talk to me? It's just so anxiety producing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to be said about your perception of reality versus what is actually going on in reality. So with all your years of experience now with networking in person and online, how has your perception of situations like that changed?
Yeah. Well, the truth is not everybody knows everybody. Most of the people in the room probably feel the same way you do or have felt that way at some point. And they are more than happy to welcome you into a conversation. So you feel like you're being intrusive, but you're not. Everybody is there because they want to meet people and they want to have conversations. And I think it's important to point out right here at this point is a lot of the reason that people don't like networking or they feel uncomfortable is because they don't really understand what networking is. Networking is not walking into a room and seeing how many people you can sell something to. It's really about building relationships, starting a conversation and building a relationship. And when you look at it that way, it makes it a little more comfortable.
Yeah. And you're right. Not everybody knows everybody. And a lot of times, especially in professional settings, most people are acquaintances.
Mm-hmm.
Or they know someone by reputation. So, I agree. It is good to approach that sort of situation with the mindset that you will be welcome into a conversation. You're not being intrusive.
Nobody likes to be sold, whether it's at a networking function or anywhere. It's not comfortable. But having a conversation, because it is about, again, building the relationships, so there's two things. You'll be welcome into a conversation if you have something valuable to contribute. And by that, I mean, you just want to be of service. So you don't necessarily have to know exactly what it is you have to contribute to the conversation before you get into it. But if you come at it from a place of being of service, how can I help you? Who would you like to meet? Maybe I know someone I can introduce you to. Maybe there's a resource I can share with you. It's about listening to hear what other people are saying so that you can figure out how to help them. Because when you are trying to be of service to other people, then they also want to help you. And the second thing I was going to say is from a practical standpoint, if you look at how people have positioned themselves during a conversation, especially if they're standing, a lot of times it'll be kind of like an open circle. So that is inviting. If 3 people, 4 people who are standing around kind of more in a closed circle, they probably are having a private conversation that you don't want to intrude on.
Personally, how do you decide what I have to say is going to give this person value? What I have to say is going to make this person's life better. I think there are plenty of people out there who struggle with self-esteem, and they don't think they have anything valuable to offer. So how do you get over that hurdle?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So I've talked to a lot of people who are maybe newer in their career, and they're going to events where there are veteran people who've been in the industry for a long time, and they feel intimidated because, again, what do I have to offer them? What you have to offer them is, again, your listening skills, your listening ability. Ask them questions that can, people are happy to share information. They're happy to be helpful. And so if you can ask them good questions about their career path or what they're interested in, or it doesn't always have to be just about business either. One of my favorite questions to ask at networking events, because first of all, one of the most common questions is, what do you do? Which I hate that question. Don't ever ask it. Anybody who's
Okay.
listening to this, do not ask that question. It's an awful, awful question because it doesn't help you learn anything. The better question is, what are you excited to be working on right now? Or what are you excited about working on right now? And somebody can take that question and answer it in terms of business or in terms of something else in their life that it helps you learn who they are. And people love to talk about themselves. So if you're going into a conversation and you don't feel like you have anything of value to really offer or share, ask good questions.